share this one out. How's your day? How was your Saturday and Sunday? How's life going for you right now? Do you need help with something, whether it's healing or awakening? You can ask any questions that you want. Okay. I can answer quite a few different questions. Oh, I don't remember where I left off. That's funny. Where are we? Maybe. Oh, the breeze that's coming in through the through the patio door is really nice. Really nice. Okay. All right, give it a couple more. So yeah, how's everything going for you? Hi, I am Michelle. How are things going? I love your channeled messages. They're right on, right in alignment with the stuff that I'm receiving as well. Good. I forgot it was Sunday. I thought it was Wednesday. I was off. Last week I took the week off. I don't actually usually take vacation, and I guess you could call it vacation because I didn't do any of my lives last week. My mom came out and surprised me. Kinda. I knew the Sunday before she was coming that she was coming, and she told me that she had an open-ended ticket, and I realized that meant that she was coming out to get her van. I had borrowed her vehicle. I've been fairly honest with how things have gone for me. I went all in on my company. I left my nursing career, and I have poured my heart and soul into my company and moved a lot, had a lot of experiences, learned a lot. But it didn't always provide the security that I needed. So I lived with my mom for a while, and I sold my car to continue surviving, and I borrowed her car to come out to Alberta. So anyway, she came out and got her car, and that was quite a shock for me, in a way. But I kept saying to myself that anything that's being taken is just giving me room for what is meant for me. That's all. It wasn't my van. My mom needed to have her van back. So here she's got it back. And now I have room for a vehicle in my driveway. And, that's you just have to be positive like that. And that's not being realistic. I definitely am realistic, and I have solutions for, my life. But anyway, I can manage without a vehicle for now. But it is definitely more ideal to have one, given that I live out in the country and am quite isolated. So, vehicle would be a good idea. But, I don't like to leave my house too often anyway. I quite prefer to stay at home. I'm sure there's many of us that are here that are watching that feel the same way. I spent so much time being around people. I was around sick people because I worked as a nurse for over 20 years. I worked a lot of different jobs in a lot of different industries because I started working when I was 14, and I was working in a way to escape my trauma, right? I was one of those people that was high functioning anxiety and depression. So I was go, do, achieve, right? Like I had to prove my worth all the time. And, so I did a lot. I've accomplished a lot. But then I burned out. I got sick, and that led to my healing journey and also more of an awakening. I shut it off for quite some time. I had quite a bit when I was a little girl, And, there were moments in my, early 20s when I was, quite open spiritually. That was when I discovered that I was Mohawk through my father. And so that led me on the path of delving into herbology and, just the indigenous way of caring for the land and reciprocity and sacred relationship and all of that. So it was really beautiful awakening for me in that way. And, but then I decided to have children really young, 2 kids before I was 20. And I got 9 years post-secondary education, because that's what I mean by driven and run, go, go, go. It took me a long time to break that. Even now, there's times when I have to remind myself that I don't have to, I'm not a product, like, it's not how much I do or how much I don't have to do that. I just have to be. But it's been a challenge. It's been a challenge to get to that point. You grow up, especially if you grow up with parents who have narcissistic traits. A lot of parents, they only appreciate you when you show up in a specific way. And, if that's something that your parents teach you in one way or another, then you can have that as an adult where you feel you have to constantly be performing in order to prove your worth, right? Like, you're always proving you have value by doing something. And we get into people pleasing quite a lot when we're in that situation. So yeah, it's been quite healing. I realized how different my relationship is with my mom, even though, I am annoyed that she did not give me a lot of notice. I feel like she should have given me more notice. And so I'm going to talk to her about that. And I was also very disappointed in the fact that she came out and left so soon. I thought she was going to come out with when she said an open-ended ticket, I expected at least a week. But she was gone in just over 3 days. Like, I picked her up Sunday at 2:30 and she was gone Thursday morning at 5:30. And it was hard for my dog too, because he loves my mom. So he's sad. And well, if you have a dog or a cat and someone makes them sad, you know how that is. It's your baby. He wanted more time with his grandma too, because he loves his grandma. And I agree. I wanted more time with her, which brought to the point of healing. It's just more healing. And, I remember years ago, my mom and I, there were times when I wouldn't even talk to my mom. I didn't want my mom talking to me. I thought she was just the most horrible person. I thought I hated her. I mean, I also loved her, but I thought I hated her. And I just wanted nothing to do with her. There were so many things that she did that hurt me in so many different ways. I didn't want anything to do with it. And in the last few years, we've done a lot of healing. My mom's done healing, and it was nice to see that I was actually looking forward to seeing my mom, and that I was sad that she was leaving so soon, which was a far cry from not wanting her to come at all and wondering how soon she could go. And it brought me to how there were times when I hated looking in the mirror, because I could see my mom in so many ways, and definitely in a lot of expressions. And, now I look at that as a treasure, because then when my mom passes away, I know that I'm going to see her for a long time. And that's a treasure, right? When we heal those relationships. But yeah, when you're going through experiences like that, right? When, you have a vehicle in your driveway, you've borrowed it from your mom. You have a way to leave your house and go get groceries and all of that. And then all of a sudden, one day you find out your mom's on her way out in a week to get her vehicle, and she leaves 3 days after, 3.5 days after she gets here, and you don't have a vehicle. That's a tower moment, by the way. And so, it's something's being taken, because there needs to be space made for what's coming in. And so there's a vehicle coming in for me, and it's going to be mine now. that's, that's the way that I'm working through that. I think it works well. So what are you guys struggling with, or is there anything that you're struggling with, and how are you working through it? How are you getting connected to yourself? How are you returning to the present moment, or, staying present when life isn't perfect? Because it certainly isn't at this time. For many of us, it's not perfect. Even for me, who, like, I think I have a wonderful life. I have a wonderful relationship with nature. I work with the elements every day. I'm writing all kinds of books. I'm very, like, I have a lot of creativity. So when you have a lot of creativity, you know that you're in alignment. So I'm just happy with, I love my wife. I love my dog. There's only one thing that's not perfect or not wonderful in my life. And that would just be strictly money, but not abundance. I'm very abundant. It's just not just directly in money. I would get my resources in a multitude of other ways. And that's an interesting thing to have, an interesting experience, and being comfortable with that experience, right? Being comfortable with that experience is the practice of the nervous system. Oh, right. And that's what we need to be doing, is learning to regulate our nervous system so that we can stay present when life isn't perfect. And that's what the embodied spirituality is all about, is being present with life. Right. And we're not meant to become so spiritual that we step away from life, we leave our humanity behind. In fact, what we're meant to do is bring our spirituality into our humanity and marry the two, which is how we essentially create heaven on earth, is by having the two of them together. And, that's also when we look at our masculine and feminine energy. When we marry those two together, that's when we become that sacred relationship within ourselves. And when we have sacred relationship with ourselves, then we can have sacred relationship with the other. And, I had a channel. I'll read my channeled message from this morning. I have to have a sip of this. Hang on. Lemon balm and hibiscus. Just yum, yum, yum. Just yum, yum, yum. Hi, guys. Thank you for the likes and thank you for the heart me. I appreciate you. So I am live on multiple channels, and I do try to give, everybody equal attention. But if you're seeing me look in a variety of ways, that's why. Clear my throat so I can read. No, just clear. Okay. So I channel messages pretty much every morning. When my mom was here, I did reduce my workload. I still did my posts in the morning, but I didn't do any lives. And I was a little more, more hanging out with my mom, spending as much time, because we were rushing around trying to get everything for her to travel across the country in her van. And so it was a lot of rushing. But every morning I sit down and I do a meditation. I connect with my spirit guides. I connect with the elements. I connect with my monad, my oversoul. I do toning. I do I do a bunch of different things as my spiritual practices. And then after I do those, then I channel a message for the collective, and then I channel a personal message for myself. So this is the personal message that came up yesterday. And the reason why is because I was saying something about the other. And I thought this was a really good one. All right. We spend so much time looking at the other, the outside of ourselves, the other who is the reason for our troubles. The other who has what we desire, the other who we wish we had or could be, the other who is going to save us. We carry so much anger and hate for the other, people before us or who we see as above us have taught us to dislike the other, to fear them, to blame them for our plights. They also taught us that the other would save us, the other government, the other religion or savior, the other alien force, the other that you wait indefinitely for. You are the one who can save the world by saving yourself, and stop hating or blaming or waiting to be saved by the other. Each one of us has been taught the same. Hang on. Has been taught the same. But my teachers made you the enemy, and your teachers made me the enemy. They taught us to hate the other sex, the other race, the other culture, the other color, the other religion, the other team, the other side. They told us each a different savior would come. They lied, confused, and manipulated us all. And many are still convinced that what they were taught is true and accurate. You are love and loved. I am love and loved. We are the world makers. We make our world by our collective thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and actions. More of us need to wake to the reality that we have all been played to hate and wait. This is your reminder, your wake-up call. You can start right now. Put down the hate, put down the lies, learn the truth, and for the love of all creation, don't wait. Join with your brothers and sisters who are making the world a better place. Turn to love, to life, and to each other. So somatics. I'm live on my Anshara'El channel, and I'm live on both my YouTube. I have 2 YouTube channels that I'm live on, and my Facebook channel as well. So yeah. Hi, Steve. Mwah. Love you, sweetheart. Thank you for all the beautiful things that you always come in and share with me. I appreciate you. Right? And it's so true, right? Like it's so interesting. Like I remember, before I did my healing journey, I was very much looking at the other, right? Like everybody outside of me was better than me. And the only way that I had value was through the other person. If I was in a relationship, well, then I was lovable because I was in a relationship. But if I wasn't in a relationship, well, then I must not be lovable, right? Like that's how much I looked outside of myself all that time ago. And, and then when you look at religion is telling you, wait for the savior to come, wait for, this person to come and save you. And well, if you're always waiting for someone to come and save you, then you're never being saved. Well, at least that's how it works. But, many people don't think that. They're still waiting. And we can't be waiting. We need to be doing stuff, right? We have to be doing stuff now. It's no different than your healing journey. If healing requires breath work and journaling, and it requires all kinds of things like that, you're the one that has to do them. Nobody can do them for you. So healing is in your hands, nobody else's. And so that's the important thing, right? Is to work on the healing on, you have to do it. And it's the same thing with the saving or the awakening, right? You're the one that has to look for the information. You have to be the truth seeker. You have to be the one to look at the patterns, to question things. You have to be the one to trust your own eyes, because they have made us doubt our own eyes like so many times. One of the things that I've always questioned with people, and, when they say that they don't believe in like the things that are in the sky, you guys get my drift. When they say that that's a plane, just, a normal plane just flying through the air, and it's just what they naturally do because of, air crystals and all of that stuff. But what about the days when there's none of those in the sky? Is it because no planes fly? Like, what is the rationale with that? What is the reasoning? Like, how is that explained away? I'm curious. I'm honestly curious. Right? So you have to question things. Just be open to questioning things. And that's why when I teach about consciousness, I teach about consciousness through the window of all the different practices, I guess would be a way to say it, right? You have to look at reality through the lens of science, through the lens of psychology, through the lens of, indigenous, through the lens of metaphysics, through, there's many lenses that you can apply to consciousness to understand it and allowing yourself to understand reality. And that's, there's so many things that I study and that I share educationally, and I share them in my membership spaces. And I have 2 different membership spaces, one for healing, one for awakening. So the one's going to be teaching you like somatic practices and breath work and journal things. And when we do our meetings, it's about triggers, it's about nervous system regulation, it's about all of that stuff. In the other group, when we are, the education is around awakening. So when we're doing stuff, we're talking about being in an embodied leadership. So, leading the wave of creating the new earth, because the way that we create that is through our nervous system regulation and our alignment with our truth, and then us walking our mission, right? So whatever your purpose is to be here, being in that purpose. And that's what the embodied leadership circle helps them doing. Yes, I was talking about that. Right. So on the days when there's none of it in the skies, perfectly blue skies, when you see them going overhead and there's nothing, how's that? How'd that happen? Like, I'm curious, how's that happen? But all the other days when it's all over why is it then? Hi, Gina. Thank you for liking the live. Thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. And same with you, Michelle. I appreciate having you here. So I'm doing a bunch of different things. The content that I'm sharing on my channel right now, I've been doing a read through of the rough drafts of 2 books that I'm writing and will have published at some point. And that is Embodied Spirituality. I do that reading on the Anshara'El channel. And then the Elemental Fieldwork Codex, which I do that reading on the Sharia and Lorian channel. So it's interesting. So when it's hard because there's certain things that they'll like kind of flag you for, right? And I'm just trying to walk the line a little bit, because I'm sure that's probably why my numbers are lower, is because they don't, I say a lot about, I get myself in trouble with some of the things I say, but yes. So when there are days when there's none of that in the air, right? So people that think that it's just natural from the planes, when there's none in the sky, what is their rationale then? What do they think is happening? Like, why do they think that it wouldn't be every single day, all the time, always? Every plane that you see, you should see something coming from the back of it, right? And we know that, but when the ones that don't see it, I wonder on the clear days when there's nothing in the sky, what are they telling themselves? How is that happening? Right? Because that's what I mean. Like, you have to trust your own eyes. And many people don't. They don't even question what they're seeing. They're just like, okay, that's what they told me it is. That's what it is. Hi, Leslie. How are you, honey? How are you? Right? Like, so that's what we have to question things, right? We have to look at what our eyes are seeing. Sometimes science isn't always the only truth, right? Because a lot of times science is skewed to whoever is benefiting from the results. And, that's unfortunate, right? Okay, I'm going to take a sip of this. I'm going to pull some cards. We'll talk about more things about spirituality, healing, that kind of stuff. You can ask any questions and everything. Oh yeah, no. We have to do it little by little anyway. We have to put the services or the systems in place to replace the ones that are distorted or inverted or truly evil. Like, we have to create those new systems so that society doesn't completely crash when everything changes, right? So that's what we have to do now. We have 4 years. I would like you to make a call with me, and it's a free call. It's available on the website. So if you go to my website, at the very top, it has about questions. And if you go there, then I can talk to you one-on-one and you can explain more about it. Because yeah, then I can have a conversation with you about a few other things. Like I can ask you some questions about stuff. If you're comfortable with that. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna start the cards. You can you can comment on what I just said while I'm doing that. I'm going to separate them into their suits so that we can get a message from each one of the elements. As I said, I'm writing the one book that is the Elemental Fieldwork Codex, because we should be in sacred relationship with the elements. The elements are within us and outside of us, right? Your emotions are the water element. All your memories are carried through the water. Your ancestors are through the water. There is there. Okay. Let's start with earth. Your body, the bone, the muscle, the tendons, the ligaments, your teeth, your structure, your home, like all of that is the earth element. When you look at the air element, that's your thoughts, that's your breath, that's your communication, that's sound. You look at fire, that's your will, that's your passion, that's your digestion, it's transformation, it's warmth. And then you look at ether. Ether is the unifying field that connects everything together. It's silence, it's stillness, it's lived intelligence. All right. What does the earth element have for a message for us today? That's our message, Earth. Oh. Well, we're going to take... They gave us 3 cards, but we're not taking all 3. Hi, Caper Genie. How are you? I might read that one too. There's a 7 and the 8. I went to pick the 7 up because it was the first card on the pile. That was 3 of them that were sitting there. And when I grabbed the 7, the 8 popped out. So I might have to read the 8 after all. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Let's see. What does water have for us for a message today? How are you doing, Jeannie? Oh, okay. Message from air now. Hi, Mauricio. Buenas noches. All right. What does air have for a message for us? How are you? ¿Cómo está? I keep telling myself that I'm just gonna wake up one day and remember how to speak Spanish. I'm just gonna wake up and just be fluent in it. That's what's gonna happen. Whoop. Okay. 8 of air. All right, fire. Air was taking its time. Pure Vita. I can't wait to come back, at least for a visit. If I don't buy property and live there, I'm going to at least come back for a visit. Buenas noches. Whoop. Fire. Ooh. All right. Ether, and then we have our major arcana. All right, so this is the deck of cards that I created. It is the Etherian Tarot because there's 5 elements, not 4 elements, 5 elements. So this deck has the ether element. And it also has a cosmic key, which is just a special card for leveling you up. So let's see what the ether element has to say for us tonight. What is our message? The other day, it actually gave us the key, the cosmic key. All right. And then I give you one from the major arcana. And all these pictures I did. All right. Got some tough messages today, I'm going to tell you. So Earth, the message from Earth is from the 7 of Earth, and it's about patience, growth, and reflection. The 7 of Earth is the element. Somehow I bumped that. That's okay. Okay, perfect. The cards won't run. They kind of do. They're having their own little fun. So the 7 of Earth is the card where there's been a lot of work. You've had patience. You've been toiling away. It's kind of, you've tended to the soil. You planted the seed. You've grown it into this beautiful bush, and you're just waiting for the fruits of your labor. You're just waiting to get that reward, and it's coming. So patience, waiting for results. It's long-term investments. It is reassessing your progress and sustainable growth. The 7 of Earth is a reminder that success is not always immediate. It takes time, dedication, and careful cultivation. Trust that your efforts are leading you to something meaningful, and use this moment of pause to ensure you are aligned with your highest path. So you get the opportunity to assess what you're doing and just refine things. Right. You have that opportunity to refine what you're working on. Maybe something needs to be tweaked just a little bit. So it's that opportunity to look into that. All right. From the water, we got the Ace of Water, and the Ace of Water is about new love, awakening, deep healing, heightened intuition, creative inspiration, and overflowing joy. The Ace of Water is a profound blessing of love, renewal, and emotional I can't read that. And emotional fulfillment in relationships, self-love, or divine connection. This card heralds a time of a time of emotional fulfillment and intuitive awakening. Be open to the waves of love and spiritual insight that flow through your life. So just beautiful, intuitive card. This, when you're looking at aces hold the potential of the entire deck. So it's all the way from the ace to the King of Water. And the King of Water is, it's emotional maturity, it's balanced, it's very intuitive. It's mastery, right? It's the height of the water element. So all of this contains that potential. It's just a matter of whether or not you follow through with it, right? Because things can change. All right. So the 8 of Air came out for air, and it was in the reverse. But that's not actually a bad thing, because when the air element is in the upright position, oftentimes that's giving a little bit harsher of a message. So when the 8 of Air is in the reverse, it's talking about mental clarity, breaking free, overcoming fear, seeing the truth, and reclaiming your personal power. So it's a very positive message. The 8 of Air serves as a powerful reminder that freedom begins in the mind. The obstacles you face may not be as solid as they appear. Challenge them, shift your perspective, and step into your power. You are not truly trapped. You are ready to soar. From Fire, we got the 9 of Fire, but in the reverse. So this one's talking about burnout, stubbornness, fear of failure, and resistance to necessary change. So Fire is just wanting us to be aware that that's a potential. We burn out when we get stuck in that productivity spin where you think that, you're only valuable while you're being productive, or that, you have to go and do. And, you have to rest. There has to be flow, right? There's all kinds of different ways that you need to process through And that's the way that you're working with the elements. You want to have that opportunity for rest and not be in fire too much. So the 9 of fire reminds you that you are close to a breakthrough. Keep going, trust your wisdom, and let your fire guide you to victory. Okay. But if it's telling you to rest, rest. If it's telling you to change something, change something. Allow fire to be that transformative power that it is. The ether was the ace of ether, but the ace of ether in the reverse. So this is where maybe you're feeling disconnected from source. You might be having some creative blocks or resisting transformation, which is just confirming what the 9 of fire said, and doubt in your divine power. The ace of ether is an invitation to step into your highest embodiment, to receive and transmit divine energy, and to trust that you are fully supported in your cosmic expansion. And it is purest connection to source, the beginning of all things, and the light that guides you home. So it's a call to remember to connect to the elements, and specifically the ether element, that unifying force, and reminding yourself that when we're talking about source and we're talking about creation, we are talking about the unifying field of consciousness. We're not talking about some man who sits on a throne and judges you. Okay. Major Arcana gave us the Justice card, which is the card for Libra, but it gave it to us in the reverse. So the message is that there is injustice, dishonesty, imbalance, lack of accountability, ignoring truth, karmic consequences unfolding. Justice reminds you that truth is a force that cannot be escaped. Align with honesty, act with wisdom, and trust that what is meant to be will always find a way. The universe is watching, ensuring balance is always restored. So it's just a message. Like, I think a lot of us feel very much like, there's a lot of injustice going on in the world, and we feel like there's a lot of imbalances, and there's a very big imbalance in the world right there. There's a lot of distortion going on. There's a lot of lies that are being experienced right now. A lot of chaos. Some of the chaos isn't even real. It's just manufactured for fear, for, energy, for looshing, for all of these things. So, we have to remember that all hope is not lost, that at the end of the day, balance is restored, and that ultimately we win. Okay. So all the messages are there that we do. Not just from me, but from other members, Lee Harris and the Z's, other people that channel like that, same thing. We win in the end. And so that's that. All right. I want to pull a couple, or at least one card from the 44 Keys of the Way. And then we'll talk about things about spirituality or healing. Whoa, 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 whoa. That one jumped up and fell back in. Apparently that's not the card they want. There we go. Oh, the first step. All right. The first step. Your affirmation is every path begins with a single step. Remembrance. Progress is built from small, consistent actions. Waiting for certainty delays movement. Action clarifies what thinking cannot. The next step is enough. Practice. Choose one 5-minute action, complete it now, and record what changed. So it's taking that step in the direction of your dreams, even just one small step, just taking one 5-minute action in the direction of something that you want to do. Maybe you want to write a book, so go start writing for 5 minutes and give yourself that opportunity. Whatever it is, right? Give yourself that 5 minutes and then see how you feel afterwards. Mm-hmm. I've been reading, like I said, a bunch of my books on the lives lately. Like I said, the Embodied Spirituality, and also, my keyboard's being funky. Stop. I have my document open with all of my planetary changes. Like at the end of, when it's getting closer to the end of the year, I go through the Live Sky app through each of the planets, and I track when it transitions into a different sign. And I have just a little notepad document that has them all sketched out. And my keyboard, sometimes the C or the V or whatever, it gets stuck down. So I was doing that, running across the screen, writing C's into it. But I got it. I mean, if it would let me delete it. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay. I think it's good. I think we're good. Okay. Whew. It's not ruined. It's not ruined at all. It's perfectly fine. It's fixed. I fixed it. So how did you feel about the cards? Did they resonate with you? Did some of the messages make sense in what you're experiencing? It did for me, some of them for sure. I was really actually happy that I took last week off and I didn't do any of the lives, because that's something that's typically a real challenge for me, is to not show up and do a live, right? But I didn't mind not doing it at all. I was quite happy that I had the opportunity to just spend the time with my mom. And because she didn't have a lot of time, it was a good thing that I did. A really good thing that I spent that time with her. I'm looking for something here. Oh, okay. Did you want to hear the channeled message from today? It was a little bit different than the one from yesterday, although I do love that others one. Today was all about remembering being a child. Was that those opportunities, right? The opportunity to see the world with wonder and curiosity and awe. That was what the message was that came out today. You know, you think about how, I remember when I was a kid, I thought I believed in fairies and magic, and you know, we moved all over. In British Columbia, they have beautiful forests in BC, giant trees, and you have to believe in magic when you see a sequoia. Like they're just magic, right? And same thing, like in Costa Rica, they have some beautiful trees. Beautiful trees there too. I mean, all over the world, you can find magical things in nature that are just, you know, awe. So yeah, finding awe in nature. But many people don't even see it like that. They just see it like dirt. It's dirty and it's bugs and it's icky. It's yuck, right? But it's just, oh my gosh. Costa Rica, oh, it's so beautiful. Oh my goodness. And many other places. You know, when I was saying the other day that I wanted to do kind of, people have always told me that I should write a book about my life. And sometimes I think about just doing like a video thing about my life and just like recording little stories about it, you know, but I was born into, like, my mom was 15 when she was married off to my dad, and she had me and my brother before she turned 18. She had 2 kids. Like she was 17 when she had me. And we had quite the traumatic upbringing, quite the experiences. And then I think about how I've also walked on the Great Wall of China. I've been to the Golden Temple in India. You know, I've been to all these different places. I've been to Petra in Jordan. I've been to the Bahamas, to the Virgin Islands. You know, I've had all these incredible experiences, which is just mind blowing in and of itself. And, you know, it's interesting, like the healing journey. And, you know, a lot of those experiences that I had, it was when I was very much still in my trauma, and, you know, I wasn't healthy then. I was go, do. But man, did I see a lot and experience a lot. And when and when I say that, it's not that when I was in my trauma, it's not like I was like this super toxic, unhealthy, terrible person. I was I was a good nurse. I worked hard. People love, in the industry, they love somebody that is high functioning anxiety and depression, because they will overwork themselves. They will keep showing up, and I did. I ended up burning out. And it hit me through my health. So yes, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I will definitely be back to Costa Rica. 100%. Even if it's not to live there, if it's only to visit, but I will be back. Absolutely 100%. Let me see. Where is the, oh, so toning. Sorry, you did ask that, Michelle, and I didn't end up responding at that moment. But so toning is when you can be doing it with the somatics. So that's where you're doing tones, like certain sound codes is essentially what they would be called. So you could be doing certain syllabic sections to create a specific harmonic resonance of some sort. I'll give you an example. I do it when I do the global meditation on the weekend, right? So here, I'll give myself a good one. So Om, there's a good one, right? So when we do the tone, when we're toning Om, that's integration, stabilization, universal coherence. So it seals the field. It harmonizes all the previous tones that I do in the Saturday meditation. It stabilizes the nervous system. Yeah. So that's what the toning is. I do, it's the Brahmadi, which is the bumblebee, and it's where you plug your ears and you do humming or Om. And I do the Om because at the end of Om, you are humming. So you put your hands and you cover your eyes. I would do it without my glasses on, but you cover your eyes and you do the Om, and you leave your mouth just open just a little bit and hum, and it decalcifies your pineal gland. It helps to release your fascia as well. So I do that in the morning. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I do specific combinations of tones that are really creating a specific harmonic translation. So yeah. Like when we're doing the meditation on Saturday, I do on, Lila, So, Then, There, Om, which is may all willing beings return to harmonic coherence, emotional peace, loving unity, and earth-aligned resonance in accordance with their highest sovereign path. So that's what that specific phrasing, the harmonics of that means. Mm-hmm. So yeah, where is the thing that I'm looking for? Mm-hmm. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. So I'm trying to think about like some upcoming education that I want to do. I'm going to be posting what I'm going to be doing within the membership spaces for the month of July, which is going to be kind of quick towards the end of the month, but that's because my mom came to visit and I took a week off. So it just kind of shortened the time when I can put those sessions, but that's okay. We'll get it going. One of the things that I wanted to do, so my other company is a nonprofit. So I have Hugs for Homeless. And what I do is collect donations to build backpacks, which are hugs. And they're filled with essentials that make life for those living on the streets a little bit easier. So, they get warm socks, they get mittens, and they get a beanie or a hat or a toque, whichever country you're in, what you call it. a blanket, a water bottle, a bunch of hygiene supplies, things like that, that can really, really make their lives more bearable. So one of the things that I've thought about doing is when these are the cards that I did where, I painted all of these pictures with watercolors. So I'm thinking about, I have a bunch of other watercolor paintings and stuff like that. I'm thinking about offering those prints that you could purchase the print off the website, like off my website, and all the proceeds would go as a donation to Hugs for Homeless. And you get to put a message of hope in for every donation that you make to Hugs for Homeless. You get to put a message of hope in, and that message of hope gets put in the backpack, and it also gets put on the wall. We're going to have a message of hope page. So we'll put them up on the web page so that people can go and look at the page and read all of the messages of hope that have been written for people who are impacted by being unhoused. So yeah. That's one of the messages I have. Mm-hmm. Okay. Where am I on this one? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I also am doing 1 minute of peace. I'm going to do that every week. And when I do that session, I think I'm going to do it on the Wednesday. And it's just an opportunity. I was going to do it through the Hugs channel, but I might do it through my channel and then just share it to the Hugs channel that way. But, I just think that there's a lot going on, and many of us are living, with a lot of stressors, or, there's the issue with the chaos that's going around and disengaging from that. So if I can put out, a little 1 minute session every week, that can kind of help people just, come back to center and just balance themselves. That'll be nice. Mm-hmm. So in the Anshara'El, which is the Pathway of Ascension and School of Light, the School of Light, I want to help people. When I went to university for nursing, I got taught critical thinking, and that was something that I think that everybody should learn, right? And I also acronyms that they've given me that go after my name that would put me on the spectrum. And, I'm okay with, I'm just who I am, right? And you're who you are. And we all know that, those pattern recognition and stuff like that's actually gifts that we have. And we're the change makers. We're the, we're the ones that are meant to do some pretty fancy things. And some of us are quite sensitive, and, whether that's we have heightened nervous system, or, our spidey senses. That's what I call mine. I call my spidey senses, because why not? But, what I want, or what I think within the School of Light, is that I want to teach you how to think, not what to think. Does that make sense? Like, in the sense of, there's some key factors that I'm writing into the school, and one of them is the 7 ways of knowing. So 1 is observation. What do I directly perceive? 2 is reason. What conclusions logically follow? The 3rd is evidence. What has been tested and repeatedly supported? And then experience. What have I personally lived and learned? And then relationship. What does nature, community, and reciprocity reveal? And then intuition, what emerges through deep pattern recognition and inner knowing while remaining open to examination. And then number 7 is contemplation, what becomes apparent through sustained attention, silence, reflection, and inquiry. And with that, you can determine for yourself what is true for you through all of those different things. And it's like I said, looking at it from science, from metaphysics, from all of it, and what is consciousness? What is it? Right? So yeah, we'll talk about all of that stuff. So one of the things that we need to do, what is truth, right? So, and there's perhaps no question greater than that. And it's not because it's easy to answer. Every decision we make depends on it. What is the truth, right? Every single scientific discovery begins with a search for truth. Every philosophy seeks truth. Every spiritual tradition claims in one way or another to point toward truth. Every child has questions because they are trying to discover what is true. Every human life is shaped by what it accepts as true. Yet very few people ever stop to ask a surprising question. What do we actually mean when we use the word truth? The word appears everywhere: political truth, scientific truth, religious truth, personal truth, historical truth, objective truth, subjective truth, and each points towards something different. If we don't distinguish between them, conversation quickly becomes confusing. For the purpose of what I want to teach is to begin with a simple observation. Reality exists independently of our opinions about it. Whether or not we understand gravity, objects fall. Whether or not we understand photosynthesis, plants continue to transform sunlight into chemical energy. Whether or not we understand consciousness, we continue to have experiences. Reality is not obligated to conform to our beliefs. Thank you. Right? And this realization is deeply, deeply liberating. It means truth is not created by popularity. History is filled with ideas once accepted by nearly everyone that were later revised. For centuries, diseases were explained through theories that are no longer accepted. As methods improved, understanding became more accurate. Right? Thank you. Likewise, history contains examples of observations that were initially dismissed, yet later supported as evidence accumulated. Truth did not change, human understanding changed. And sometimes it's the things that we use to test stuff, right? If you don't have equipment that can test in the spectrum of whatever it is that you're seeking to understand, then it doesn't exist. That doesn't mean it's not true. It just means that you don't have the ability to prove it yet. But as things refine and, technology grows, or understanding or, knowledge expands, then we end up with tools that are more able to just, determine different frequencies or, more finite things. When you think about some people see different things because their eyes are functioning outside of the normal window or the normal spectrum of vision, right? Animals see differently than we do because they see outside of the spectrum that we see in. So that's just an understanding of how we don't understand the truth necessarily, because it may not be able to detect it. And so we need to be looking at it from different aspects and being open to the fact that it can continue to change as we refine our practices, our approach, our tools, and the diagnostics that we're using. So imagine standing before an immense mountain hidden beneath morning mist. At first, only a single ridge is visible. As the sun rises, more of the mountain appears. The mountain has not grown. The mist has simply lifted. Knowledge often develops in the same way. This perspective often encourages humility. If our understanding can become clearer, then every conclusion should remain open to refinement. That's not weakness, it is intellectual honesty. Science understands this well. The strength of science is not that it never changes. Its strength is its willingness to change when compelling evidence requires it. Good science continually asks, What would convince us that our current model is incomplete? This willingness to refine understanding is one of its greatest virtues. Many contemplative traditions express a similar principle through different language. They encourage practitioners to observe experience directly rather than relying solely upon inherited belief. They want you to believe your own eyes, trust your own intuition, rely on your discernment, right? That's what they're encouraging with that. That's with that direct observation or lived experience. And philosophy contributes another dimension by asking, how do we know what we think we know? And that these questions reveal something profound. Truth and certainty are not the same thing. A person may feel absolutely certain and still be mistaken. And I leave myself open to that all the time, right? I am very, what I believe, what I know, I'm very strong in my belief of that. But I'm also willing to say my knowledge changed. That doesn't change my belief from before. My knowing was my knowing until the information or experience or my awareness expanded within that area. So one of the greatest gifts that we can cultivate, though, is the ability to say, I do not know yet. I have great idea of what I think it is, but I'm not 100% sure, because until you experience, how do you know? And hi, Taryn, how are you, love? So conversely, uncertainty is not failure, right? Because it's just not. How are you? One of the greatest gifts we can cultivate is, like I said, that ability to, I do not know. I do not know yet. I do not yet know. I do not know yet. Either way. And these words are not an admission of defeat. They are an opening through which discovery can become possible. Right? It brings us to an important distinction. Facts are observations that have been consistently verified and within these defined conditions. And models are explanations that, why don't I reply to messages? Well, because I took last week off for holidays, and so I didn't. Are you looking for services? Because I work, I do help with healing and awakening. I do tarot readings and other readings, nervous system and trauma support sessions. I teach courses and classes and write books. Right? It's just so freeing. It's so freeing. So theories in science are not guesses. They are well-supported, explanatory frameworks that integrate extensive evidence while remaining open to revision if new evidence appears, right? So hypotheses are proposed explanations that invite testing. But you do have to remember that in every single framework that you're looking at, whether you're looking at science, metaphysics, contemplative practices, indigenous practices, it does not matter. In every single one, you still need to keep your discernment intact, because there is corruption in every single. There's always somebody who is distorting the information in order to gain something. That doesn't mean that the whole thing gets thrown out. It's just, you have to be aware of that, right? There's lots of scientific studies that have been doctored to support whoever it is that is running the study, so that they can make money off of whatever it is that they're selling. So we have to be aware of that, right? And, unfortunately, corruption exists. And you just have to be listening to your intuition, right? Believe your own eyes sometimes, because we certainly have stopped doing that. So beliefs are ideas that we accept as true, whether it's because of evidence, experience, trust, culture, intuition, or tradition. And I have said for years to question your beliefs. Where did I get this belief? Who taught me it? Where did they learn it? Why do I think that it's true? And what would happen if it wasn't? What would that do for me? And maybe if you believed that it wasn't true, it would actually help you, right? It would actually benefit you in some great way. Think if you had a belief that you were a loser. I've probably thought that once or twice in my life. So if you have that belief, what do you think your experience in life is going to be? Do you think that you're going to be? You think that? How do you think your confidence is going to be? Right? Like that's a belief system that's inherently going to harm you and your life. So address those beliefs. Why do I have them? Oh, why do I have that? Because I have trauma. Why did I have that? Because people said mean things to me when I was growing up. They, like I had bullies in my life. So it's understandable, but that's not the truth, right? What would happen if I didn't believe that? Well, I think my life would be a lot more healthy, right? I would love myself more and treat myself better if I didn't think of myself in that way. So I need a drink. All right. So experiences are events that occur within consciousness. Interpretations are the meanings we assign to those experiences. Wisdom is the ability to apply understanding with discernment, compassion, and integrity. These distinctions matter. Confusing one for another has led to countless misunderstandings throughout history. An experience deserves respect, right? What you've experienced as a nurse, the lived experience of the patient, it's important. The subjective patient's pain, it's not for me to be objective about it, right? It's their pain. So and what that patient experiences, that they understand, right? What I feel, and if I'm experiencing something, it's going to be way more intimate and way more aligned than what somebody outside of me is going to say that I'm feeling. They can't tell me what the pain is like. They can't, because they're not experiencing it. So experience deserves respect. Its interpretation deserves thoughtful investigation, though. We can't jump to like a big conclusion necessarily with every single experience that we have, or determine that every single experience is 100% accurate. Because our emotions, our nervous system, our stress levels, our belief systems, there's a lot of different things that can affect our experience, and whether we're projecting onto it or we're making assumptions in some way, or we're having it altered a little bit by the emotions that we're experiencing. So evidence as well, it deserves careful investigation and examination, and its interpretation also requires humility. Okay. We learn to honor experience without abandoning discernment, and we learn to value evidence without assuming our current explanations are final. We have to keep that little door open, that there's a slight tiny possibility that there could be more information that could change what the truth is that you know of this. So perhaps truth is less like a possession and more like a relationship. It invites us to return again and again with greater attention, deeper humility, and a willingness to be transformed by what we discover. The search for truth is not a destination reached once and forever. It is a lifelong practice of seeing more clearly. Every honest question becomes a part of that practice. Every careful observation contributes, and every sincere conversation matters. Every assumption examined creates space for deeper understanding. This is why truth does not fear investigation. Investigation is not the enemy. Investigation is one of the ways truth reveals itself. And that's when you know that something's up, is when somebody doesn't want to let any information, like when they're redacting information, when they're hiding things, that's clear that there's lies there's manipulation, there's deception, there's an illusion here somewhere, because truth does not fear investigation, right? If you had you got audited for your taxes, right? If you've done your taxes and you haven't done anything wrong, you're not going to be in fear of that, because did all my taxes. I've been up to date. Everything's fine. I've got all my receipts. It's, whatever. I got an account, whatever it is, right? And using that as an example. If you're not cheating on your partner, you don't fear an investigation, right? I mean, you probably wouldn't even be warranting an investigation because you'd be exuding trust into the field, right? Your energy. So yeah. So how do you know? How do you know? We've got our 7 ways of knowing, right? Our observation. Everything begins with observation. Okay? Before there's theories, before there are beliefs, before there are explanations, there is observation. A newborn observes light. A seed observes moisture. A wolf observes the wind. An elder observes the seasons. A scientist observes the patterns. A healer observes changes in the body. Observation is the first language of intelligence. It asks nothing more than this: what is actually here? Not what do I expect to see, not what have I been told to see, not what I hope is true, simply what is present. So observation requires one quality above all others, and that is presence. Without presence, we do not observe, we project. And much of what human beings call observation is actually recognition, right? We notice what our minds already expect. And it's true. We fill in the blank. We're really good at that. We're really good at making the pattern work or making it fit for us, right? That's why it's really dangerous when you make assumptions, let's say in conversations, right? Because if you have, let's say we go back to that, you had what I had, where you had trauma, and so you thought of yourself as a loser, and so you have that distortion in there. Then when you're having a bad conversation with somebody, like there's some disagreement going on, you're going to likely assume that that person's thinking negative things about you, or saying negative things about you, or is feeling worse about you than what they were, because that type of a thought pattern creates low self-esteem. So of course you're going to think poorly about yourself in negative or in conflict, because you're projecting, and it's the assumptions, or your pinball trauma brain. So we project. Much of what human beings call that is actually recognition, right? So psychology calls this that confirmation bias, right? Whatever your belief system is, you're going to see it. You're going to see that, and it's going to fill in the blank for you. So if you're somebody that thinks that what they're doing over here is chemicals, right? When they're doing it in the sky, the shh, right? If you think that that's chemicals, when you see that, that's what you're going to see. If you don't think that, you're not going to see it. You're not even going to see it. It just isn't even in your eyes. And you can see that in society. People aren't seeing it at all. So neuroscience tells us the brain constantly predicts reality based upon previous experience. It fills in the gaps to help us navigate the world efficiently. And this predictive processing is remarkably useful, but it also means that we can overlook what is actually present when it differs from our expectations. Indigenous trackers understood this differently. A skilled tracker doesn't simply look. They learn to see the bent blade of grass, the disturbed pebble, the subtle shift in bird song, the faint scent carried on the breeze, the absence of sound where sound would normally exist. Observation is not passive, it is an active relationship with reality. Nature teaches this beautifully. Spend an hour sitting quietly beside a pond. At first, you notice only the obvious, the water, the trees, perhaps a duck. Remain another hour. You begin to notice insects skimming the surface, the changing direction of wind, the dragonfly returning to the same reed, ripples that reveal fish beneath the surface, clouds reflecting upon the water. Remain still long enough and the pond begins revealing itself. This may be one of the greatest lessons that nature offers. is not because it changed, but your capacity to observe deepens the longer that you remain in that space. So reality often reveals itself in proportion to the quality of our attention. And this principle appears throughout science as well. The invention of the microscope did not create the invention of the microscope did not create microorganisms. It expanded our ability to observe them. And the telescope did not create galaxies. It expanded our perception. Every instrument humanity has invented is, in essence, an extension of observation. And the same is true inwardly. Meditation does not create thoughts. Breath work does not create emotion. It often reveals what was already present. Journaling does not create patterns. It just helps us recognize them. Somatic awareness does not invent sensations. It trains us to notice what the body has been communicating all along. Observation is therefore not limited to the external world. We observe thoughts, emotions, sensations, relationships, dreams, ideas, habits, cultures, ecosystems, the stars. Every field of knowledge begins with observation, yet observation alone is incomplete. We must also learn to ask, what does this mean? To the second way of knowing. So yeah, I think that we're going to continue to talk about that. Do you look forward to hearing some more about consciousness and exploring it through all types of different processes, all different types of belief systems, or not belief systems, but practices or theories? Thank you for following me, Sasha. Nice. So in this one, we're going to, when we're processing through learning about consciousness through this and through through the principles of learning, it's going to be observe carefully, think clearly, feel deeply, live ethically, remain humble, and continue investigating. That's what the School of Light aims to teach. So yeah. All right, let me do I got to pull out all my information for the energy of the week so we can just see what we're going to be dealing with. I do know that we have a new moon in Cancer on July 14th. Oh. Give me a second to put it all on one page so I can have it together instead of having to grab each one of them. All right, so we have the sun is currently in Gemini. It went into Gemini on the 21st of June, so on solstice. And this is according to True Sidereal, so the living sky, and it also includes the 13 signs, and technically it's 12 zodiac signs and one gate. Ophiuchus is a gate, not a sign, the same as the other signs. It is the gate between Scorpio and Sagittarius. Okay, so we have the sun in Gemini. We have the moon currently in Gemini as well. It's moving into Cancer on the 14th, which is when we have the new moon. And let's see, where's Mercury? June. Mercury is also in Gemini. So we have a stellium in Gemini. It just means that there's a lot of communication, a lot of learning. I should put down that what they are. Okay, the sun. There. Okay, where are we now? Venus is in Leo. Nope. Yeah. Sorry. Venus is in Leo. And da, da, da. Then Mars is in Taurus, which is good. And let's talk about how this energy is going to affect us. Now, when we're looking at the planets, right now up to these planets are more the personal planets, the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and your rising sign. That would be really personal core planets. Then we move into more of collective or longer term kind of situations. When we're looking at Jupiter, the impacts are longer. It takes longer for those planets to transition through the signs. Jupiter this year is only transiting twice. It moves on June 21st, it moved into Cancer. So it was previously in Gemini up to that point. And then it moves again on September 23rd into Leo. And then it doesn't move again for the rest of 2026. Saturn, it moved in January into Pisces, and it moves in September as well into a smaller planet called Cetus. Uranus doesn't move at all. And nor does Neptune or Pluto. They are in the same constellations, and they will remain in those until 2029, 2033, and 2040. Right now, they talk about how we're in the age of Aquarius, but Pluto is actually in Capricorn, according to the living sky, until 2040. But Capricorn is the one that wants integrity, and Capricorn is the one that wants to look at the things that we are, the structures that we have, and whether or not they have integrity and they are meant to be legacy level things. Capricorn wants to prepare for the next generation and is about, integrity, structure. It's kind of that dad energy or the divine masculine energy. Right? It wants structure, safety, support, responsibility, all of that stuff. Okay. There. There. How? Change my position a little bit. All right. Let's talk about the energies that we're going to experience now that I have them all written down in one nice little block for me to look at. It'd be perfect. Yes. Okay. All right. So we are focusing on Gemini. And when we're looking at Gemini, this is when we are gathering information. We have curiosity, it's communication, learning, and seeing multiple perspectives. And that is with our sun, that is with our moon, and that is with Mercury. So those being in Gemini, and Mercury is communication, and also the home of Gemini. So it's right at home right now. When we get to the 14th, we have the new moon in Cancer. And this is where we're returning home to ourselves. This is emotional renewal and and nourishment. It's also planting intentions that support your inner life. Because Cancer is about the inner world. It's the mom energy. So that real nurturing feminine energy, caring for yourself. It can be setting intentions within the home. It can be setting intentions within your temple of light. Either way. So like I said, Mercury is in Gemini, which is its home planet. And this is heightened communication, creativity, generosity, and allowing yourself to be seen. So beautiful energy as well. Thank you for following me. We have Venus in Leo. Leo's passionate. Leo is flirtatious. Leo is also authentic, right? It's that sun energy. This is True Sidereal or the Living Sky. If you went to theskylive.com, you could verify everything that I'm talking about the transitions that are occurring. I work with the living sky as it is because I think that that's more in alignment with the truth. I think dealing with the sky frozen 2,000 years ago and working with tropical seems a little bit outdated. I wasn't born 2,000 years ago, but that's my perspective. So we have Venus in Leo. So this is about expressing your heart authentically, creativity, generosity, and allowing yourself to be seen. We also have Mars in Taurus, which is steady, deliberate action. There's less urgency. There is more endurance, and you're looking at building what lasts. Then we have Jupiter in Cancer. This is growth through emotional wisdom, family, community, and creating environments where people can truly flourish. And then we have Saturn and Neptune, both in Pisces, which is bringing spiritual insight into lived reality. And this is moving beyond that inspiration into embodiment. There's been a large focus in the community on embodiment. I'm trying to get people to realize we're bringing spirituality to earth. We're not trying to jump out of our body and become spirits again. That's not the point of the incarnating into the earth. It's to bring our spirits to heaven. Happy birthday, Dixon. Nice try, though. And Uranus in Taurus, continuing to redefine stability, values, and our relationship with the material world. And then we have Pluto in Capricorn, which is the ongoing transformation of systems, leadership, responsibility, and the structures we build our lives upon. And so this is a week where the mind gathers possibilities, the heart chooses what belongs, and the body builds what will last. Gemini asks us to explore. Cancer asks us to feel. Leo asks us to express. Taurus asks us to embody. And Pisces reminds us to live with compassion and spiritual integrity. There's so many mosquitoes in Alberta right now because of all the rain that we've gotten. It's disgusting. I love summer. I love being outside in nature. I have so many things like that I want to forage and harvest, and I just don't even want to be out there with all the mosquitoes. It's just disgusting. Disgusting. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what do you think about the energies that we're going to experience for the week? Think it's going to be a good week? I do. Let me see. Do we have any other transitions this week with the moon? July 14th. Yeah, on July 15th, it goes into Leo. And then July 18th, it goes into Virgo. Okay. So we got a couple more transitions with the moon this week, which will give us a little effect as well. All right. Do that. Do that. I see what I did. One second, guys. Okay. Do I have Converse? Like the shoes? I do actually have a pair, I think. White. No, I don't feel like going and getting them. I made a typo in my document, so I had to fix it, guys. I'm sorry. There. Hey, Chexie, how are you? All right, I corrected my list. It's correct now. I'm going to look at the other two with the moon moving through. How are you doing? How's Paco? Yeah. Yeah, they are. They are. You got to take care of your stuff, right? You got to take care of it. No, I'm just when the patio doors open, I have a bird feeder outside. I live out in the country and I have a lot of wildlife around me. It's really nice. How are things going for you? How are things going, Chexie? My day's going good. Look at that. We got 10.1 on this one and 10 on this one. Great job, guys. You guys are fantastic. That's a lot of likes. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Yeah, good. Good. I'm loving life, except for the mosquitoes. It's the only the only thing I could honestly say I could do without. Like very much I could do without. Because they are terrible. So the way we're going to process with the moon this week, we're going to have Gemini asking today, what am I learning? And then Cancer is going to ask us in 2 days, what do I actually feel? And then Leo is going to ask us, am I willing to let myself be seen? And then Virgo is going to ask, how do I bring this into my everyday life? And that's allowing us to be embodiment. Nice. I might have to do that. They're terrible, like, because we've been just getting so much rain, and then when I take my dog for a walk, I'm just like running from them, and like the whole time I'm going, like it's just yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, one of these times I'm gonna make my I'm in the process of making my own bug spray. I have to I think I need some I think I'm missing one ingredient. It's probably citronella. But that's okay. You just got to walk really fast, and I just don't get to spend as much time outside as I would like. I'll just rub coffee on me. Just rub it on my arms. It's a coffee scrub. That's what I'll do. A coffee scrub and then go for a walk. Might work. Never know. You smell like coffee. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, just walk around with a cup of coffee grinds. I might. I might have to try that, right? It might be what I need. Maybe that's why I get bit more, because I don't actually drink coffee anymore. Maybe. Yeah. No, I think I'm gonna hop off here, guys. It's 9 o'clock. I think I'm gonna head to I don't know, start relaxing, unwinding for the night, get ready for Monday. And I'm back on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Mountain, so around the same time. Like you too. Yeah, I'll be back on Wednesday. I For some reason I thought it was Wednesday today. I was just all off. So anyway, I will be back Wednesday Mountain, and we'll talk about spirituality, embodied spirituality. We'll talk about all kinds of things, consciousness, healing, awakening, nervous system, all of those things. Ask any questions that you want. I'll do an energy check-in with the cards, check in on what each of the elements has to say. And Wednesdays is just general chatter and fun. I don't do a check-in on the energy on that day. And on Saturdays, when we get together, we do the same thing, where it's a check-in on your energy, a check-in on the energy of the collective. It's we talk about spirituality and healing, all those same topics, but the goal of that day is the global meditation. So on Saturdays at 10 o'clock a.m. Mountain Time, we do a global meditation for peace, unity, love, truth, and elevating everyone to the highest harmonic resonance, including Mother Gaia. So that happens on Saturday. Yeah. This Saturday, I have to make sure it'll be at 10, but I'll have to do it a fairly quick one, because I have a play that I'm going to as a matinee. So we'll just I'll have to be on time with my stuff on Saturday for sure. All right. Go check out my content, or go check out the website. If you have any questions about how I can support you in your healing or awakening journey, just go sign up for a free clarity call available at my website. And if you're looking to donate a nonprofit, you can check out hugsforhomeless.com, which is my nonprofit helping the homeless in Alberta. We take donations and make backpacks that are called Hugs, and we distribute them out into the community to ease the burden of being unhoused. We can't fix the issue. Like, I personally can't fix the homelessness epidemic that's occurring right now. But if I can help make things easier, and we just believe that, small acts of kindness can really have a big impact, and that a hug can change a life. And it really can, especially when you're putting a sleeping bag in it. It can actually save a life. In Alberta, it is actually the frostbite capital, with more cases of frostbite per capita than any other area, and more individuals die due to the weather conditions in Edmonton than in any other city within Canada. So those are just some statistics to take note of. And, many people think that people who are homeless are just drug addicts, but that's not true. They make up about 25% of the population. And in long-term homelessness, that number is more like 28%, but that's still not the majority. The majority of people are actually people kind of like me, right? I talked earlier on about how, I jumped off my ledge and took a risk on my company, and I left my nursing career, and my company did not provide the financial stability that I had hoped. And I struggled, and but I wasn't willing to give it up because I believed so much in what I was doing and helping people overcome their trauma and, to regulate their nervous system and to teach people, how to think, or to, like, in the sense of the truth about reality, and, to question things. But it didn't go as well as, it had. And I was somebody that would have been homeless if I didn't have the ability for my mom to take me in. And it wasn't that she was able to. I wasn't allowed to stay with her. She was in a seniors building, so I was hiding out there. And I did eventually get found out that I was there, and they kicked me out. So, it was I would have been homeless if it wasn't for my mom. So it's not people like you think it is all the time. They're just normal people often, right? That just had bad luck. And society, when it, as the prices increase and increase and increase, and things get more and more challenging, then more and more people are at risk of experiencing being unhoused. And so, we have to kind of come together and help each other. Like, I think that's an essential part of what we're meant to do. Is we're meant to realize that, we're stronger together as a community. And we need to really be evaluating our strength as a society based on our lowest members. So if one person's homeless, we're all homeless. There's no reason why that should be. Everything that we need for the necessities of life are provided by the earth. So why do we have to pay for them? And why should anyone die because they don't have the necessities of life that are provided freely by the earth? It's a crime. But on that note, I am going to run off because my throat's starting to get a really good tickle in it, and I'm out of drink. So I'm going to go and get something to wet my whistle before I end up in a coughing fit. I love you guys. I'll be back on Wednesday at 7:30 Mountain. We'll talk more about all of this stuff. I love you guys. No, I can just say happy birthday, Fiona. But I love you guys. Have a great night, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Thank you so much for hanging out with me.